Good morning, everyone. Today, I am going to discuss the central dogma of molecular biology. Now, what is dogma? Recently, dogma means an absolute truth and indicates of the central dogma of molecular biology. This is a dogma that describes a flow of genetic information in all of life. Central dogma says the genetic information travels from DNA to RNA to protein. So look at this a little more details. Basically, all of life, so animals, including humans, also plants, fungi, bacteria, all living things all have cells that have DNA as our genetic information. DNA is capable of replicated using enzymes called DNA polymerase. So one is our ever cells for dividing and replicating. For example, when your hair is growing, your fingernail is growing, and our plants are growing. This is whenever the cells are replication and they also have to replicate their DNA. Now, the genetic information that is contained in DNA in order to make protein, eventually first genetic information has to be transferred into RNA to the process called transcription. Transcription is when you have RNA polymerase that use the DNA as a template to make RNA. There are three main types of RNA. First is the mRNA or messenger RNA. This is the RNA that contains all of the genetic information from DNA. Second is rRNA or ribosomal RNA. Complexes with proteins to make the cellular organelle, the ribosome. Third is the tRNA or transfer RNA. Carries amino acids and works with rRNA and with the ribosome and able to process translation. Now, translation is when mRNA is read as a template by the rRNA and the protein to the ribosome, which also use tRNA to make proteins out of amino acid. It is these proteins that then go on to fulfill various cellular functions. For example, so it is the protein that are like enzymes that fulfill various cellular functions like replicating things. Proteins are also the signaling aspects of the cell. They are the motor protein that helps things move around the cell. So it's the protein formulates the cell function. When the central dogma of molecular biology was set down, it is thought that DNA went to RNA, went to protein. Turns out there is one important exception. There are examples of RNA where genetic information is contained of RNA and it moves backwards to DNA, and that example is retroviruses. So, there are retroviruses that have their genetic informations toward to RNA and they use the process called reverse transcriptions. And of course, reverse transcription would be the opposite of normal transcription. So when they use an enzymes called reverse transcriptase to take their genetic information in RNA and compare it to DNA. One such virus that does this is HIV. So that is the important inception of the central dogma of molecular biology. That would be all. Thank you.